Hello and welcome to part 2 of Aphantasia and Beyond. If you have not seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend you do so, as it will add context to what's going on here. There are links to all 5 parts of the series in the description below. In part 1, we began to discuss visualization and hearing sounds in our minds. In part 2, we delve even deeper into those subjects, as well as talking about how we experience other senses in our minds, such as smell, taste, and touch. Now picture a chocolate chip cookie. Can you smell it in your mind?
No.
Yeah, I can.
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
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 Not quite as distinctly as hearing, but yeah, I can imagine the smell. Imagine it. I'm not physically smelling it, but yeah.
Not until you said to smell it. But yeah, I can smell it. Yeah.
Now you mention it, I can imagine what that smell would be like. One of the best smells in the world.
Yes. You're making my mouth water.
No. I make cookies a lot. I mean, like you would think that would be an easy thing for me to visualize and smell. I know it, but no.
Can you taste it in your mind?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
No.
I don't know if I can taste it. I'm not even getting saliva buildup, but
It just made sense to me why I can cook the way I can cook. Because I can taste the food before I make it. And I know what to put in there to make it.
Yes. And now I want a chocolate chip cookie. Thanks a lot.
No. There's food that I really like. Let's say there's this restaurant and they make a steak a certain way. I know I really like it. But I'm always kind of taken back by what it tastes like when I taste it, because I don't remember the taste so much. It will be almost a surprise, like tasting it for the first time.
Can you touch it in your mind?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. No.
No.
No.
Yeah, it's a gooey chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah? Well, yeah? Never thought about that.
I think imagining that cookie, I can tell that it's warm, but I couldn't imagine touching it per se, and saying, ooh, here's a warm cookie, ooey gooey chocolate chip cookie or whatever. Not as strongly, I guess, as the visual and auditory.
Like know what the texture should be. Yeah. It's more of a memory, I think, because like the sheep example, I had to generate a sheep, kind of a cartoonish sheep, because I don't really personally know a lot of sheep, but I've made chocolate chip cookies a number of times in my life. I consider myself something of an expert in chocolate chip cookies. So you say chocolate chip cookies, and immediately I have this massive file that opens. Okay, which cookie am I going to look at? And I had kind of a split screen of a bunch of different cookies, and I said, okay, I'll just grab that one at random out of my memory bank. And then she said, okay, can you feel it? Can you taste it? I'm kind of digging down on the file, as it were, and saying, oh, yep, I think I can generally know what that cookie tasted like, what it smelled like, what it felt like. And now I want cookies again.
In general, when you close your eyes, what do you see? Darkness.
Black.
The inside of my eyelids.
Yeah, like gray, black, just like darkness, really.
Dark. I think it mostly stays that way unless I put something in there.
Right now I'm just seeing my surroundings. If I'm thinking about something, I close my eyes, I'll visualize what I'm thinking about. But I think typically in a situation where if I close my eyes, I just still see my surroundings.
Black. Until I will it to do something, yeah, it's black.
It's just all darkness. Like a blank canvas, as it were. But you tell me to visualize a sheep, there's a sheep.
Nothing. I don't see anything. It's hard to concentrate on anything with my eyes closed. Like I have no imagination with my eyes closed.
It just depends on what I'm thinking at the time.
I picture whatever thoughts are in my head. Like if I'm thinking about a person, I'm picturing that person. I've even done where I picture like a checklist in my head where I'm, marking things off of a to-do list. But yeah, it just depends on what I'm thinking. There's various things.
Nothing. I mean, well, it depends on what I'm thinking about. I mean, when I close my eyes to go to bed at night, I have lots and lots of thoughts running through my head, and I only wish I could see darkness so that I wouldn't have all these things going through my head all the time. Like, having an abyss would be super nice.
That's a hard one. Sometimes I see blank screen, especially if I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Unless my day's been full of stuff, then I just start seeing the day replay.
Mostly darkness. I guess it's a cacophony of things until I can solidify into a thought. Well, I think it starts off as, a dark theater. Well, maybe the way I'd explain it is the way Remy describes tasting food in Ratatouille. That it starts as a blank slate, and then there's flashes of color and objects floating by, not necessarily floating by, but just popping in and out until I can solidify a thought.
When I close my eyes, I see my wherever I'm at. I see my surroundings still. So I'm sitting here in this living room, and when I close them, that's what I see. Is I still see the room. Like, I'll go to a hotel room I've never been in before. When I close my eyes to go to sleep, I can still see the room. When I close my eyes and I picture the room that I'm in, but then you tell me to picture a sheep, then I don't. I picture the sheep outline. But if I'm just closing my eyes to go to sleep, I guess, it'll be like my eyes are still open. It's a picture when I close my eyes and see the hotel room I'm in. What do you make of that? I guess it's just natural, because remember when I told you I lost the sheep, when you were asking me to make it run and all of that, I was trying so hard to visualize that sheep, I just couldn't do it. And I think the harder I tried, the less I could do it. Like the chocolate chip cookie, I saw that a lot better. Still wasn't any color or any, detail or anything, but I don't know if because I like chocolate chip cookies more than I like sheep. I don't know. Let's go back to like the hotel rooms. It's a room I've never been in, right? I see it clearly and even get some color sometime. The picture that comes in my mind when I close my eyes, like the hotel rooms and stuff, only started 15 to 20 years ago, and I had some bad experiences and needed to be more aware of my surroundings, and I think that's what it is. It's a defense mechanism I've acquired so I can still see what's going on around me in the room, even if my eyes are closed.
Is there always something visual or audible going on in your mind?
Yes.
No.
No.
I would say visual, yes.
Yes. Always.
Yeah, I think so.
No. Not visually.
Unless I make it stop. If I just, let my mind go, it's just whatever is, there's always some sound, some picture, some thought going on.
There are words in my head. I think of words. I think of things that I'm saying to myself, talking to myself. That's what's going on in my mind.
Can you think of nothing if you want to?
Yeah.
That's my default.
I can.
No. I try really hard.
Yes. I'm very good at that.
With enough concentration for periods of time, but not for long.
No. What I wouldn't give to have no thoughts running through my mind. That would be fantastic.
I have to make myself not think something. I'm always thinking something unless I force myself to think of nothing, which I guess essentially means I'm thinking of something.
That'd be nice. That'd be really nice. And be able to just empty your brain. That'd be cool. I can't do it. There's no way. My brain is constantly in my sleep, during the wake. It doesn't matter. There's something going on.
I don't think so. I think I'm always got something going on up there. Even if it's just staring out the window. I mean, well, actually staring out the window is even worse because my mind is just, there's no rules anymore. But if I'm concentrating on something specific, then I probably wouldn't be, having visualizations or anything. Like, for instance, tying my shoe. I don't really imagine sheep knocking over cups of water while I'm tying my shoe. If it's a specific activity that requires concentration, I won't be wandering. But if it's a monotonous thing, for sure, I'll be going somewhere else. Like I drive for a living, right. And I have missed my exits and turns lots of times because I was building a fence or building a tree house, or I was yelling at somebody, or all these things that happen, like, oh, I know we should go on vacation or something, and I'll be picturing the beach or whatever. And yeah, you can make a lot of miles burn off by doing that. I go to a different place a lot of times. It doesn't shut off. I mean, that is just the way my brain works. I'm gonna tell you a true story though, okay? This is why I really sucked at school, because I was always imagining and visualizing, but I trained myself like the teacher would be up there doing her lecture, okay? And I would lock eyes on her and watch her because she'd pace back and forth. I don't even know what teacher, but she paced back and forth. And I'd watch her, but I wasn't listening to her. I was somewhere else, somewhere out in the universe, doing something or thinking about something. And she had probably been sitting at her desk for a good 15 minutes. I'm still staring at her because I hadn't broken that trance. And she looked up and said, "Robbie, do you need something?" And I was like, holy crap, how long has she been sitting there? Because I was locked on her while she was doing her thing. But when she sat down, I just kept staring at her. I mean, it must have been the creepiest thing in the world. No, you don't turn it off. You just, it just always goes. Yeah, I can't even imagine nothing. I can't picture nothing. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even know what nothing is.
Do you hear your thoughts?
No.
I don't hear words, no. I'm thinking about the words.
No. I'm thinking them. I'm not hearing them.
Yes, but yeah, it's usually my voice. At times, I guess, if I'm stressed about maybe a customer, maybe I'm behind schedule or something like that, I might hear their voice and their concerns in my mind before I approach them about the problem.
Yes. It's just kind of me talking to me. Just kind of like, a lot of it is just reminders like, hey, remember to do this. Like, oh yeah, thanks, mind.
Sometimes, like, I'll hear, since I drive a lot, I get to play the thoughts in my head sometimes of the day. And I'll hear, my wife saying, be careful, or my kids saying, come home when you're done, Dad. Don't get hurt today.
No, not very an auditory person. As I said earlier, I'm more of a visual, so I don't often hear things so much in my mind.
Yes. It's like somebody talking in my head. Like, it's me talking in my head. Like, I could be laying at bed at night and be like, oh, I haven't updated the budget. And so that goes to my head, the budget. Oh, I have all these classes to plan. Oh, I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out. I hear those thoughts.
I don't even quite know how to answer that. I have to think about it. In my mind, I don't hear them audibly.
Yes. Well, most of the time, like I said with one of the other questions, it depends on what I'm thinking. If it's like what I need to do, I'm telling myself, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you need to do this. Or if I'm thinking of a person or a scenario or something, I'm hearing what happened in that scenario or what that person would say in what situation I'm thinking of. It depends on what I'm thinking at the time as to what I'm hearing.
I do. But mostly my voice. This is really hard for me. I have the eating disorder. So I have an eating disorder voice that tells me not to eat. And then I have my voice, which tells the eating disorder voice to shut up and let me eat. And then so I have these two conflicting voices in my head, both of which are my own, but they are very conflictive. My personal voice, was very like submissive to the eating disorder voice. I was like, okay, so now that I'm more in like a recovery, like my voice, the voice of Teresa, is constantly telling this eating disorder to like, be quiet. You're not, it's trying to quiet that voice until one day we hope it disappears.
All right, that's the end of part 2. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and click the link to continue on to part 3, where we discuss reading and memory. And you can find links to all 5 parts of this series in the description below.